A few years ago, our agency sales process was a mess. It would take 3, 4, sometimes 5 calls to close a client. There was endless follow-up, tons of back and forth, spending tons of time on custom proposals. And today, it's entirely different. We have a 2-call process that allows us to enroll premium clients, and sometimes it doesn't even take the 2 calls because it's so systematic and dialed in. And it's allowed us to increase our close rate, take on more of the right clients while actually having a lean sales team instead of just having to get bloated because we needed more salespeople. And in this video, I'm gonna show you the key pieces that I think you should put in place if you want to get your time back and make more in your sales process while actually having less sales calls. Now, if you're new here, my name is Greg Hickman. I'm the founder of Alt Agency, and over the last 5 to 7 years, we've trained over 800 agencies, service providers, and consultants on how to systematize not only their sales, but also their delivery so they can serve more clients while also enjoying their life, working a 4-day work week or less. And most importantly, what I'm sharing here is not theory. This is actually the systems that we've been using and our clients have been using to take back their time, take control of the sales conversations, and again, make more while doing less. Here's the problem. The problem with most sales processes is right now, you have probably takes too many calls to figure out if they're the right person, to then get all the decision makers on the call and move them through a process that gets them buying in a timely fashion and not having a very long drawn out sales cycle. Now, the reason that happens is you probably have unstructured calls. Each and every person you talk to, the conversation is different. There's no assets that you're using to make each call repeatable, which then leads to you having to send custom proposals. And I've done plenty of videos on why custom proposals is a bad idea for most service businesses, so I'm not going down that rabbit hole today. But when you don't have a repeatable sales process, you end up and are more likely to entertain customizing your solution for whatever the prospect wants, which leads to custom proposals. And there's often no clear next steps. Half the time the decision maker is not on the call, you didn't really handle any objections, you're actually not even sure that they're qualified, and it kind of takes multiple calls just to figure all of that out. And lastly, you have no standards. In more cases than not, might be desperate or need the sale, and you're gonna do whatever it takes to get it across the line. And so you kind of let them, the prospect, take control of the entire sales process. They're the ones leading the dance, and you're just now bending over backwards, doing whatever you can to kind of get the deal across the line. And it gets dragged out, and you waste a ton of time, energy, and effort. Sometimes you're probably even giving away your strategy for free, and then they don't close. So the shift that I want to focus on today is I want you to dial in a process where you qualify if this is your ICP and if it's a good fit or not as soon as humanly possible in as little time as possible, and have a process that's super structured, which is going to give you confidence. When you are so crystal clear and follow a step-by-step process, you are going to show up with a lot of conviction, which arguably is the best sales tactic that exists. And when you have either a document and or slides in a presentation, it actually allows you to save a ton of time so that the calls can be tight, efficient, and maximizing the amount of time that you are on the call, because you don't want to be on sales calls all day to have calls bleed over to 3, 4, 5+ calls. Every single person you're talking to, you're going to be on calls all the time and not actually growing your own business. Now, when you make this shift, you're going to start to see that having a systematic process actually allows you to scale results. You're going to be following up better with prospects. You're going to see more of your ideal clients come across the line. You're going to make sure that the ones that aren't a good fit aren't advancing and not wasting your time. And lastly, when you have a repeatable process, it's going to allow you, the founder, to be able to remove yourself from selling and or parts of the sales process a whole lot faster. So if that sounds good, I want to break down what this 2-call process actually looks like. So first and foremost, I said we got to qualify as soon as possible. So that first call is a discovery call, right? The objective of this call is purely to identify if they are a fit, meaning they match your ICP, they have the problem that you can solve, and your core service, your offer, can actually solve that problem, okay? That's what I mean by the fit. Now, the second call would then be, in our case, we call it a demo, but you can call it a consultation, you can call it whatever you want, but where you actually present and make the offer is the second call, okay? So on the first call, on the discovery call, we are not breaking down how we're going to help them. We're qualifying if they are a good fit, if we can help them, and If they are, and they would like our help, which is also critical, and they are looking for the solution sooner rather than later, then they advance. So we're looking for fit, we're looking for timing. Also on this call, we want to understand budget, okay? And again, fit means the who and the what align. We can solve their problem. Timing is this a now thing or a later? If they're like, yes, I have this problem, but I have all these other priorities and it's gonna be 6 months from now, I'm just doing my research. You wasting your time on a sales conversation on this second call, in more cases than not, is just a waste of your time and it's completely out of sequence, okay? If they're not gonna do anything about it, their whole world can change. Your world can change in 6 months. So wasting your time just to kind of share info isn't in your best interest. And lastly, like I said, budget. So typically the discovery call in most cases can be anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. It really does not need to be longer than that. You should have a very strict agenda and you should adhere to it. And you need to set the tone as the leader to let them know that this is how the call is going to work and that you are trying to maximize your time and make sure that you don't waste theirs and they don't waste yours. So I think that's where having standards really comes into play. Now, in the first call, I recommend that you have some sort of presentation, minimal presentation that kind of high level explains who you are, what you do, like a couple case studies and examples. But most of the call is going to be you asking questions. Now, many of our members inside the collective, we give them sales presentations for both of these calls and scripts and specific questions that they can customize and cater to their unique scenario, because no word for word script is ever the answer, but you do want to follow a specific flow. And there are certain types of questions that you want to be asking to make sure they are qualified for you. And each and every business is slightly different. So I'm not going into the exact word for word today. The point is, on this call, you are trying to make sure that they are a good fit. Now, once you've determined that they're a good fit and they've verbally said, I'd like to learn more, I think that if your offer makes sense, we should potentially consider working together. The last bit of this call, this little sliver here that I'm going to highlight, we're going to do a few things. So the last few minutes, what we want to do is, one, bam fam, book a meeting from a meeting. So we do not get off this call until the second call is scheduled. So one of the first things, once we've identified they're a fit, we know we can help, they're interested in getting our help, and it's a now solution, I'm getting them on the calendar to take them through my presentation where they're going to learn more. Then another thing that I want to do, I want to kind of get a temp check on the budget. And so this totally changed the game for me in my business and many of our clients. Is I think we're in a market right now where we know that trust is at an all-time low and skepticism is at an all-time high. And so I think people value their time. I know I do. And so we started doing this just out of kind of protecting ourselves, but also out of the best interest for the prospect. So we say something along the lines of, hey, look, I really do believe we can help. Now I know on the next call, I'm going to walk you through exactly how we can help and how we can help you achieve your result in this amount of time. But let's say we hop on that call and everything is a fit and we can help. In order to work together, our minimum level of engagement or our service or our program or whatever your thing is costs X, or between X and Y if you have 1 to 2 options. Is that something that would work for you, assuming that once you see everything and how it works and it feels like it's the right fit, that we'd be able to move forward, or is that an issue? If they have an issue on the price right then and there, I'm either going to try to handle that objection, and or if they're like, oh, that's actually out of my budget, then I'm going to not continue with having that second call and I will have saved my time. If it's a later thing for them, I can then go and schedule a follow-up call to touch base, 30, 60, 90 days from now, if it's not a top priority, or if they're going to need time to acquire the funds. I'm not looking to waste my time and I'm not looking to waste theirs. And what I found to be true is, first and foremost, once we started having this conversation, the prospects were super thankful and grateful for it. And I'd still say more times than not, they weren't alarmed by the number, and majority of the people would still move forward. I'm aiming for at least 50% of the people that we're talking to will move to a second call. We have clients that do a little bit higher. In the beginning, you might have to work up to that based on your qualifying standards, and you might just need enough reps to get there. But the point is, if you want to protect your time, don't take people to a second call if they have no idea what the ballpark is of what the investment is. I think most markets now, most industries will respect you saying that, and you can deliver it how you want to in your own voice so that it works. Now, I know I'm probably gonna get some people in the comments or, the high pressure salespeople that are like, blah, 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 they don't know yet, you're just throwing out the number. I value my time way more than I value having a crappy client come into my world. And so I'm willing to go out there and have a standard and say, look, I know you haven't seen everything yet, but we both agree that it sounds like it's a fit and you want to see more. If when you see more, you still believe it's the best fit and you want to get started, is this number doable for you or is this range doable for you? I think is complete common courtesy and also respects your own standards and your own time if that's something you value. Some of you might not want to do that. I've found it to work extremely well and also get me back a ton of time. So again, now let's say they say yes to all those things, then we've scheduled the meeting, in which case on the second call, we are actually taking them through a presentation, walking them through our step-by-step process. Now, we help our clients inside of our Collective and Trailblazer programs actually create a visual map that fundamentally is a 6 or 9 step process to show our clients how we take them from problem to solution. And we have a whole training on how to design this and visualize it so that you can clearly articulate what you do, walking your clients through your sales process. All of our clients love it, and it makes selling a whole lot more fun and simpler when you have a repeatable process to take people through. And again, on this call, we've already done all the qualifying. We now are showing them how our offer, our service is a prescription to the problems that we identified on the discovery call. Now, this might sound all well and good, and you might have even seen this before, but here's the magic, the piece that has made the second call almost unnecessary, or take us from what used to be a 45-minute call down to sometimes a 15-minute call to enroll the exact same client. So in between call 1 and call 2, we've actually added a step. So after I've done the BAM FAM, after I've done the budget, there's one more thing we do now. Call this V2, okay? V2 is after we get the budget, what I say is, hey, look, in between this call and the next call, I'm actually gonna send you a document or some collateral that walks you through exactly what we do, how we do it, the pricing, and how to get started. What I want you to do between this call and next call is to review that document. If you review it and decide that it's not a good fit, all I ask is you please let me know and I'll cancel our second call so I don't waste your time and you don't waste mine. Does that sound fair? Awesome. Now, I also want you to, if you read it and you actually don't have any questions, you just let me know and I can send you the link to get started and we can save our time and we don't need the second call. Does that sound fair? Awesome. Cool. Well, and the last thing, now most people will review the document and they might have 1 or 2 questions. When we hop on the second call, if you have any questions, we can just use the call to not only answer those questions, but also show you the inside of our process and show you how everything's going to work. Does that sound fair? And they agree. So then that middle process is that we send them what we call an offer document. Some people do it as a presentation. Some people do it as a Notion doc. We use a Notion doc. Some people use a Google Doc. And it has all the details. So we send them that document, and the people that are a bad fit cancel, and we get our time back. And the people that are a good fit, almost every single time, either cancel the call because they have no questions because the document answered it, or they come to the call and instead of 45 minutes, the call is much shorter because they have 1 or 2 clarifying questions about logistics or something like that. We answer those questions and we can get started right then and there, right there on the call. This process has saved us so much time. And honestly, we've gotten feedback from our clients that they just respected that we respected their time and that they didn't need to see the whole demo because they got all the info that they needed when we presented them the offer doc. Now on our offer doc, it's taken multiple iterations to get it there. We give our clients a framework that they can use that we've now battle tested hundreds of times that our clients are using to get their offers out and running a whole lot faster. If you want help with that, you can totally check out our Collective program in the link in the description. But this document, there is a method to the madness, there is some science to it, there is some art to it, and it does take having conversations first in order to create this document. If you've never sold over the phone, it's kind of not a good idea, in my opinion, to just jump to selling from sales calls, but you have this offer document, okay? And some people, and ourselves included, have even gone as far as adding a little video that has a walkthrough that gives them some of the stuff that we would normally do on the demo has been added from the demo into this video so that they can consume it on their own time. That's also reduced how long the demo call needs to be and also helped us eliminate a good portion of the demos because the qualified people that already want our help tell us that they're in beforehand. And sometimes we get questions where they'll just ask via email. We'll answer the question via email in between. So there'll be an email here in between the getting the document and the second call. And this email answers the questions before the second call, and then the second call still isn't needed. So this is our sales process that I feel like is super efficient, gives us our time back. And like I said, if this call is the first call is 15 minutes, and then we send the document, we've now enrolled a really great client for only 15 minutes of our time because this document is leveraged. We can use it for everybody, and or it's another 15-minute to 20-minute call and we're not spending a whole nother hour. And it's all compressed into a really tight window. I've found it to be tremendous for our business and for many of our clients as well. Now, one mistake, we can obviously help you implement this system. You can go implement this system. But the biggest mistake that I see when it comes to installing any sort of a system, automation, process, is doing all of that without having your offer dialed. So I believe that at the center of everything, you need to have a really great offer, an offer that is productized, delivers a specific outcome for a specific person, because that amount of clarity lets you deliver in efficiency, and also your presentation, the questions you ask, the visual map that I talked about that you walk them through is much easier to choreograph inside of a sales conversation when you are selling one core offer. So when we work with our clients, we really help them hone in on packaging their core capability, because it's their core capability that really then supports the sales system, the marketing system, the delivery systems, and kind of the business operations. If we don't have our offer right, trying to have like 17 different versions of this document and 10 different versions of the presentation for discovery and then doing custom, like we've kind of defeated the purpose of having something systematic and leveraged. So if you don't have your offer dialed and or you want to improve your offer and you'd like our help, copy, paste our systems, take our templates and scripts and work with us, myself, my team of coaches and trainers to help you customize it to your business. That's exactly what we do inside of the collective, hundreds of agency owners and service providers over the last handful of years. You can click the link below in the description to learn more. And if you're a little bit intrigued on kind of how we scale profits without necessarily increasing our overhead and having a huge team, then go check out this video.